Welcome back to Terra by the Bay. I'm David. Okay, this is going to be a reading on the budget and the continuing resolution that made it out of the House. I was listening, I was driving while listening to Belle of the Ranch discussing the continuing resolution versus the budget that the Republicans are working on. They're not exactly the same thing. The continuing resolution is what's going to fund the government from basically now through September. And then the severe cuts on the budget, that would be what the Republicans want to enact in September. Right now, the Republicans don't have the time to get all their cuts off of that budget. So they want to pass a continuing resolution to keep the government funded while they work on the budget that they want to enact at the end of September of 2025. That'll carry through 2026. Now, the continuing resolution, and there were changes to it. It increased defense spending, it increased border enforcement, and it decreased funding for social programs. Basically, at a real high level, that's what it was doing. But otherwise, it keeps spending at similar levels. Actually, it wasn't Belle of the Ranch. It was the one I saw on TikTok. Let me correct that. And, the question is, what are the Democrats going to do? Because if you need 60 votes in the Senate to get through. The Republicans had 53 votes. And this continuing resolution had no Democratic input in the House. So the Democrats can certainly say, we're not voting for it. And you only have 53 votes, you need 60, which would lead the government to shut down, which should put a halt to Trump's demolishing of the government. And it wouldn't be opened right away because Mike Johnson, I'm assuming politically speaking, sent the House on vacation or on a recess right after they passed their resolution. Not keeping them there in case the resolution came back, but just basically saying, okay, I sent everybody home, so now if the Democrats shut down the government, basically it's a political move to force the Democrats to keep the government open, to put pressure on them, because it's not something that can be fixed at the last minute. It's going to be, well, there's not going to be anybody home, so approve it or else there's going to be a shutdown that we will blame you for. That would be one way. The other way is that the Democrats could just say, well, some funding's better than no funding, and approve it. Well, apparently there's now a third thing on the table, and that third thing is a 30-day continuing resolution, a clean one. Basically, what the Democrats want to vote on in the Senate is a clean 30-day continuing resolution, which would give the Senate more time to debate this current continuing resolution that came out of the House and be able to send it back to the House for amendments after the Senate puts their changes. That's how things normally go. The House proposes a budget, the Senate reviews it, they offer suggestions for changes that the Senate wants to see in order to get Senate approval. The House makes the amendment, sends it back to the Senate, and if you're lucky, it gets through both and gets to the president to sign. That's compromise and how government used to work. So we've got three scenarios here, and I'm going to throw cards on the budget. One is going to be, are the Democrats going to just blanket sign off on this? Another one's going to be, are they going to say no? And the third one's going to be, are they going to do a 30-day resolution? I'm going to lead with the 30-day resolution because that's the one the Democrats want to push forward first. Jim Thune, I don't think is wildly excited about a 30-day continuing resolution, but he didn't dismiss it out of hand either. So there's a possibility. Okay, so this will be for entertainment purposes only. don't make any investment decisions based on random dudes on the internet throwing tarot cards around. But let's take a look at the energy around the Democrats in the Senate, and then we'll hit with the questions, okay? Okay, general feeling around the Democrats in the Senate. What's with this whole budget thing? It's a winner-takes-all type of scenario. They didn't get any input, and the Republicans are trying to force things through as they do their budget cuts and try to retract government spending. Underneath it all is the Justice card. The thing is that there's a lot of legal challenges to the way Doge, if you will, is cutting jobs and stuff like that. It's an unjust way of doing it. It's not the normal way of doing it, and there's legal challenges to doing it. So the Democrats are kind of like, we got the law on our side here. We don't necessarily have to be a victim in all this. In the past, Eight of Coins budgets were usually done, up until a couple years ago, budgets were done on time, as I described earlier. You went back and forth. The party in the majority gets their way on how they're going to do the budget. But, there was some negotiating and gamesmanship that went along with it. Current situation is the Two of Cups. You have to have both the House and the Senate sign it. Trump needs to sign it. But there needs to be agreements. And right now, there are no agreements. What there is a forcing one group's ideology in there. There's no compromise. And that's what the Democrats are looking for, some kind of compromise. Overarching energy is the Queen of Wands. What actions can they take to get through this? This is not a woman beating somebody with a stick card. So I think this is kind of the Democrats looking at this whole situation and how do they address it. Lesson we learned is the Nine of Swords. The Democrats really are between a rock and a hard place. And this is kind of that growing lesson for the Democrats of tough love. They don't want to be blamed for a government shutdown. They're the ones who are always taking care of everybody despite themselves. And so their inclination is they don't want to shut down the government because that's going to hurt people. But at the same time, if you capitulate, you have given up your bipartisanship and you've given up your power. You've rolled over. Outcome is the Queen of Pentacles. They need to find a way to, in some ways this is kitchen table issues. They need a way to message that this budget needs to get down to kitchen table issues on there. And I think this Queen of Pentacles is probably their 30-day resolution. I'm willing to put it on there as the 30-day resolution because it's a compromise. It's an action of compromise that they're taking. Also with that Two of Cups. That keeps the government funded, allows for more time for negotiation as they used to do in the past. It's not unreasonable. But the problem is that government is so freaking polarized right now. The whole country is so polarized right now that anything that would resemble cooperation or previous normality is kind of like a Six of Cups moment where it's like, oh, you're naive. You think you can compromise? You think you can cooperate? You think we're going to give you an iota of power when we hold all the cards? And there's a lot of truth to that currently. You don't have honest players, honest negotiators going on. And I mean that from the Republican side. All right, so 30-day resolution. Democrats are coming up with a 30-day resolution. How is that going to work? Walking away. Was I going to do I wanted to do a 4-carder on this one. I was contemplating 7, but I think I'm going to do 4. 8 of Cups. It's the walking away. This could be a shutdown if they don't get that. Let's see. Queen of Cups. Ace of Swords. It's a good idea, actually. And there's that 6 Cups I was telling you about. the 30-day shutdown, as the House goes on vacation, there's still a lot of work to do. And I think this is why I think the 30-day shutdown is actually not a bad idea, in that you have it. Is it a hill to die on? It's like the House can't just walk away. Go do your job. This is your shutdown. This is the way things used to be, arguing and fighting. Will they get it? I think where the Democrats have some strength here is that the Republicans need at least 7 Democratic votes to get to 60. Rand Paul has voted against every continuing resolution for the last couple of years, and as it was stated, he might very well vote against this one too, so they would need 8 Democrats. And the Democrats might say, hey, look, you know what? You want those 8 votes? Then you got to give us something in return. We need to negotiate this like we used to. And, not be shut out of these negotiations. Don't let the House take a vacation when there's a bunch of work to be done. So, that's that. Will it work? I will throw on that after I read the other 2. So, will it work? Yeah, possibly. Possibly. There's no reason for the Republicans to say yes to that. But the Democrats doing this, not only does it buy them a little bit of time, if it helps them set up a narrative. Something that Democrats don't do a very good job of is setting a narrative. And the narrative is going to be, hey, look, we asked for some more time, that we didn't like where this was going. We had no input on the budget. And now we're being forced between 2 bad choices. So we came up with a third choice, which is a reasonable compromise. And if the Republicans don't want to play, then the Democrats can say, if the Democrats vote no and the budget doesn't pass and the government shuts down, the Democrats can at least message, hey, we didn't have a voice. We tried to set up a voice. They said no. Sorry. When they're willing to work with us, then we'll get the government running again. That's how the logic would work on that. Will they vote no? If they don't get that 30-day window, will they vote no on the budget? You got the devil card, followed by the Page of Pentacles. Yeah, kind of, it's a corrupt way. They didn't get a say in the matter. This one was in the past too. It's a difficult decision. If they're going to vote no, they know it's corrupt. They didn't get a say in the money, and they know it's a difficult decision for them to do. In the past, the Democrats are the party of enabling, detoxifying things, making things easier for people so they don't have to basically drink the poison from their cup that they poisoned. When you've got like the 7 of coins where you got the bush with all the fruit on it, the low energy would be the poison fruit. This is the drink of the poison fruit. Current situation, are they going to say no? The Republicans are all going to vote yes on it, maybe even Rand Paul on this one. And the Republican Party would, again, they would try to message that the Democrats weren't playing game and they're willing to flush the United States down the toilet. But there is a decision that needs to be made by the Democrats. If they say yes, they're giving the Republicans their way. So they really have to make a decision, and it's a hard decision because if they don't get their 30-day resolution, they have 2 lousy choices. Lesson we learned is the magician, which is why they came up with this 30-day. They're trying to pull a rabbit out of the hat, as it were, and leads to the Queen of Wands, which leads to the suggestion of doing a 30-day. They don't want to vote no on it, so they came up with a 30-day resolution to kick that no vote down the street. I think right now, if I were looking at the energies, I haven't thrown on the no vote yet, but I don't think I need to at this point. The Democrats aren't. I've been all over the place with this reading. When I've read on the Twin Channel, I don't know if I've done it on my channel, but on the Twin Channel certainly. When we've read on this, I thought the Democrats would vote no on the budget, and then like last night when I was reading it, it just felt like they were going to capitulate to the Republicans. They didn't have the stomach to say no, and they were just going to roll over. When I read about this 30-day continuing resolution, now it looks like it could be that the Democrats were afraid that they didn't have enough votes to get... there weren't enough votes to say, yes, we're going to continue the budget with this new Republican proposal, this new Republican continuing resolution. And in order to get those 8 votes, they had to try and get a 30-day continuing resolution so that 8 people could at least say, hey, we tried to negotiate, we had a seat at the table, we got some compromises, and this is the best we can do, and we'll vote for it. If they can't get that, they got a hard decision to make. So, for Carter, will the Democrats get a 30-day extension? They're waiting, offering the new idea, need to make a decision fast. Republicans are holding on to the money. High Priestess is kind of wise. It's a wise move because, again, it gives them cover. Will they get it? They don't know. They're waiting for an answer, but they don't have much time to get an answer. I think this is what the House the House being out of session, and there was no compromise with it, that they're on a bit of a crusade saying, hey, you can't just ignore us. You want our help? You gotta take our help. That's not a yes or no answer. I asked a yes or no answer question, and I didn't get a yes or no answer. What I got was, how are they feeling right now? When they make that proposal, how will they feel? This might just be one of those ones where I'm not going to get an answer. Okay, so let's look at it from the other way. Jim Thune, is that his name? Mr. Thune, who's the senator who's now in Mitch McConnell's position as the Senate Majority Leader, will he grant a 30-day extension to the Democrats? Let's go about it that way. Okay. Justice card. Fair's fair. He might. He just might do it. He doesn't want to do it. So think about it. There's your poison bush card with 7 of coins. The oligarchs want the Republicans to focus on their enrichment. He might grant it. He might say, this is fair. It's a big budget. We can sit down for 4 weeks and let this go and try and do negotiations with an unreasonable House of Representatives. But, it is the budget. It's a continuing resolution. He might do it. He actually will consider doing that. It's not an outright no. It's not an outright yes. But it looks like if there's a better chance he will say yes to that 30-day than no. Now, on the lower energy with that justice card, I will go back to Mitch McConnell's comment about elections have consequences. And, we have wealthy people that want certain things done a certain way, and you guys have no power other than shutting the government down. So let's ask that. Will there be a government shutdown in within the next 30 days. Because either this resolution gets passed, either the Democrats... I kind of don't want to... See, the thing is, I don't want to read on them... No, let's just read. Will there be a government shutdown soon because the Democrats don't have enough votes to support this current budget? There's so many different decisions here. Will there be a shutdown? 2 of coins. There's trouble on the horizon. They don't know what to do. They're juggling. It's not so much they don't know what to do. They don't know which is worse. So they're still juggling. They're still with that decision here. They want to take care of people. They don't want to see people out on the street. But at the same time, you have to be strong. And being strong sometimes saying, we're going to have to take a break. And this is what they're doing. People needing their help versus, we can't support this. This is the Democrats' time to shine. And show that, if we're going to run this country in a bipartisan fashion, you have to be on... And here's the problem. You have to be equal partners. And right now, we are not equal partners. Now, that's understandable. The Republicans hold the House and they hold the Senate. It's not equal powers, but it's also not honoring agreements and being equal powers. That, what I mean by that is that the Republicans make up rules whenever it's convenient for them to do so, and the Democrats don't do that. So the Democrats have to stop enabling the Republicans from being their worst immature selves. The people that suffer for that are going to be at-risk people in the United States who rely on the government for payments that they get. That's where we're at. And that's what the Democrats really need to have to come to terms with. Are they going to be strong and be capable of giving the tough love lesson that the Republicans need to learn? The Democrats are empathic. They're very empathetic people, so the lessons they need to learn is how to value themselves and put themselves first. The Republicans totally know how to put themselves first. Their lesson is how to put their own self-interest second and other people's self-interest first. And since there's no motivation for the Republicans to put another person's self-interest ahead of theirs, it's incumbent on the Democrats to basically put their interests first and stop capitulating to the Republicans. So the ball is in the Democrats' court with this one. The Republicans, look at the actions. They're sending the House members out. They're not giving the Democrats any say in the matter, and they're just basically saying, sign it, like that to them. What will the Democrats do? We'll find out soon enough. Thank you very much for watching this video and supporting my channel. I appreciate it. This reading is for entertainment purposes only, but I hope you found it insightful, and I'll catch you on the next video. Take care.